when we set out back in 2017 was when we launched the foundation. But prior to that, in 2016, when Doddy was diagnosed at the end of that year, and into the spring of the year afterwards, Doddy spoke a lot about the lack of progress that had been made in the fight against motor neuron disease over the last 20, 30 years. He was frustrated at the lack of progress that had been made, the lack of treatments, the lack of choice, the lack of hope for patients. And that led to us eventually coming together. And we began to raise money, but we wanted to be able to invest that money wisely. Raising money sometimes is the first part, but you have to be responsible what you do with that money, because if you invest that money in us, we need to make sure we spend it in the right way and try and get what we all want, which led us to Sean, because Sean, right from the very beginning, had engaged with us. He's a great friend of Kenny Logan's, who's a great friend of the foundation. And Sean, we'll talk in a moment about how that happened, but came on board, and in the last 3 years is basically an integral part of what we do at the foundation, and has been instrumental in establishing how we've invested in research and establishing our scientific advisory board. So Sean, I'm going to let you just say a few words about our wonderful board, our advisory board of neurologists and professors, and who they are, how we brought them together, and a little bit a sort of overview of how we have come to where we are today, and I'm just going to give you a quick figure here, folks. Up until to date, we have committed just shy of £6 million into MND research, targeted MND research. That's a phenomenal amount of money from a standing start. And we've got massive plans as well. So Sean, if you can just give us a kind of overview of what we've been doing over the last couple of years, and particularly your role with that.
Sure, absolutely. And thank you, Jill. Thanks for those very kind words. And from me, just hello to everyone. And can I also just say, I've been loving the cooking, watching everyone cook. And I saw Koisty with the red wine there. He has some hidden skills, which I certainly didn't know about. So yes, heartfelt thanks to everyone that's involved in this effort. It's been, and for the whole of the Doddy Aid, raising extremely valued funds to support our research quest. To find meaningful treatments. That's what we're trying to do, meaningful treatments for motor neuron disease. We have a research strategy which essentially is to fund, guide, and enable the smartest, the most efficient, and most effective research to expedite new treatments for MND. So we work with, as Jill said, the 10 leading MND people in the country, research clinicians, to help guide our thinking and to achieve what we want to do, which is ultimately to find treatments that will first of all slow, then stop, and ultimately reverse this awful disease. And that's no mean challenge. So our promise to everyone that raises funds really is to work very hard and strain every sinew to make this happen. So how we do this is some of the areas that we focus on. The first thing I'd like to say is what we try and focus on is there's a lot of work going on, a lot of research going on in labs up and down the country. We want to try and focus on clinical research, which essentially is clinical trials with actual patients. So that's the first tenet of what we're trying to do. The areas that we focus in is in gene therapy. There's been big advances made in certain types of MND, which will benefit all types of MND. So quite a bit of the research has gone into, the research funds has gone into that. We also invest in biomarker work. So biomarkers are human biology clues or indicators what the disease is doing, and there's not a lot in MND. So we're trying to find new biomarkers, and biomarkers essentially tells us what the disease is doing, if it's progressing, and importantly, if you give a treatment, if it stops progressing. And so we work with the Oxford lab looking at biomarker research, and probably the best area, the most potential for a quick win is in repurposing. And what repurposing is, we test existing drugs. So these drugs are available for other diseases. They are already out there. They're already licensed. They've been through their safety. So we can very quickly screen these older drugs and see if they have any effect on cellular models of motor neuron disease. And we've already seen some encouraging signs. And you might have heard about some of the work that was done from Edinburgh last week. We were involved in some of the funding for that, which was looking at a stem cell model of the disease. And so that's those are the areas that we have been focusing on. And the last one, I would say, is, as I said, is the clinical research, and we are funding part funding 2 very large platform trials. And the beauty of platform trials, instead of testing a drug, seeing if it works, this takes a period of years, seeing if it works and then starting again. A platform trial, you can test a number of drugs all at the same time, and that's obviously a much quicker way of seeing if various drugs are working at different stages of the disease. I think that gives you a quick overview of what we're doing. And Jill says we're working with 10 of the leading neurologists in the UK, and they really help guide our thinking. And what we do know is they all tell us, and we feel it as well, that although nothing has happened for the last 30 years, we feel that things are happening now, and we want to expedite this as quickly as possible to try and get some new drugs and potentially old drugs into MND patients to see what effect they might have.
And you make it sound quite straightforward. I know, Sean, the amount of effort that you've put in and the amount of work that goes into this, and to bring together these amazing professors and neurologists happened because of the profile of Doddy and because people wanted to help and wanted to become involved. And we meet up a couple of times a year, and they report to us and they tell us what's been happening. And one of the great elements of that meeting is always when they bring different papers that have been published and things that are happening within the research community globally, and share those with us. And then we ask them lots of questions. And would you agree, Sean, while we ask them some tough questions, Doddy always he challenges them all the time, and I think it's really brilliant the way that he does that. And we all try to hold up a mirror to people and say, that's fine, but how can you do this quicker, or what could make this work easier for you, or what can we do to help you, or why have you not done it this way? And I think that's been a really important element, and I think it's something that they really enjoy.
I think that's absolutely true. And when I first met the big fella, he was aghast at the fact that there were no treatments, and it was a bit of a desert out there, and I could tell straight away that he was going to do something about it. And you're absolutely right, sitting in front of these extremely eminent professors from up and down the land, and they're laying out their plans for this research and that research, and so this one's going to take, we think we can get this trial done in 4 years or whatever. And Doddy's saying, hang on, whoa. Let's stop there. Why 4 years? Why can't we do it in 1 year? And they said, well, if we did this and we did that and we got an extra person in here, an extra person in there, and so, well, let's get them. Let's get those funds and let's ensure. And so you're absolutely right. His force of personality has put a little bit of pressure on the whole system. And I think everyone does enjoy it. You're right. I think people are, and I know we're speaking to all of our advisors, they're very honored to be part of what we're trying to do, and feel very motivated. And I know I hear feedback from our efforts is extremely good, and I think the personality of the big fella himself is really, really part of that for sure. And I think we see that in all aspects of what we're trying to do at the foundation.
Definitely, Sean. And I think we look forward to April when we've got our next scientific advisory board. We have got hopefully the launch of our new strategy for the foundation coming up, hopefully at the end of this month, start of March, when we're really going to lay out to everybody just what we hope to achieve over the course of the next 10 years, just what our vision is, how we are going to achieve the things that we have set out as our goals. And we've put a lot of thinking into that. And I think in some regards, it's been this period of time where we haven't been out off doing lots of different activities. It's given us time to really focus on some of the big questions that we have and how we're going to drive this forward. The one thing that we can't survive without is the support that we've had, and it continues to grow. And I think the one thing that's been really evident, Sean, is the momentum that we've felt and the optimism and the science behind that momentum going forward. And I think that the advances in gene therapy, the advances in stem cell technology, the advances in medicine generally, and the collaboration mean that we are on the cusp of something very special, and we just need to keep our foot on the pedal. We just need to keep that momentum going, and we're working with other people to make that happen. We're obviously part of a much bigger MND community, but that is a really important piece to work with other people, collaborate and drive this forward and not take our foot off that pedal.
I think that's absolutely true, Jill. I think we have also introduced an element of collaboration. Often in research, people can go into their own little research hubs and do their own work, which I think is the most important. We've kind of pulled everyone together and said we need to work together, and so that's evident on the research side, but also the collaboration, as you say, with other research charities and other patient charities associated with M&D and part of the M&D family. And we're pushing through some exciting ventures that I think will come to fruition. And we all owe it to all of our fundraisers who work very hard, as you say, in delivering this valued resource that is up to us and our responsibility to make sure that is spent absolutely in the right way, in the right targeted way. And we spent a lot of time deciding and prioritizing exactly what that research should be. And because it couldn't, we can't scattergun approach. These are hard-earned pounds, shillings and pence that we earn. And it's, as I said, it's up to us to make sure that these things are spent responsibly and also in the areas that's going to get us the best and quickest return, for sure.
Absolutely, and we couldn't do that without you, Sean. Thank you very much, and the other members of our team who work so hard to deliver on what we hope to achieve. We should also say that a big part of our funds also go towards helping people living with MND and their families. So we have given, I think, just shy of £1 million in grants, direct funds to people who have MND to help them with different things, whether it's adaptations to their homes, mobility help, respite care, etc. And we do that in collaboration and in partnership with the two frontline care charities in MND Scotland and MND Association, who give grants on our behalf because they've got the occupational health teams there who can best deliver that. So, all of the work that we do there is only possible, and I keep saying it, and as Sean has said it, because people like you have got on your bikes or gone out for a dog walk or have taken your kit off and snowboarded down Davy, and all the different things that you've done, and we just couldn't do it without you. So listen, I'm going to finish because I know there's more entertainment along the way, but I thought it was just so important that everybody involved knew how passionate we are about what we are trying to do, but also how responsible we are trying to be with your hard-earned funds. And we really appreciate you giving us the most magnificent kickstart to 2021. We will keep in touch with you and let you know what we're doing. Please sign up for our newsletter. You can do it online. We'll probably email you all anyway, just to tell you how you can do that so we can share what we're doing. It's really important because you're part of this now. You're invested in it, so you're part of it. So we want to make sure that you can keep receiving updates, but also sign up for whatever next we dream up or whatever next Rob dreams up. And Doddy Aid 2022.